Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, Rambo is back for a count 'em, fifth installment in the Rambo saga. So, of course, we as nostalgic nerds, we as old school nerds, we as new school nerds want to figure out, is it really worth it to go see this fifth rehash of the Rambo saga? Well, this will be the Nerd World Order spoiler-free review of Rambo 5, Last Blood. So as a nerd, there are four things that we look for in order to determine if a movie's going to be good or not. We look for the acting, Sylvester Stallone, the action, the special effects, and of course the story. The movie can earn a nerd flag for each subject, thus giving us 4 nerd flags. So let's get into this spoiler-free review of Rambo Last Blood. Now, there have been 4 Rambo movies before. We have Rambo First Blood, made sense. Rambo First Blood Part 2, which would be Rambo Second Blood. Rambo 3, Rambo somewhere else. And then Rambo 4, The Fight Continues, or more of the same. And of course, we have Last Blood. So let's talk Last Blood. Now, the acting, it's Sylvester Stallone, and we knew we weren't going to get good acting. We got mediocre acting. Nobody's going to upstage the man in his own movie, so Sly Stallone gave us exactly what we were expecting. He gave us a very monotone, very lethargic, very over-the-hill soldier who, in the words of one character, was sort of, I think he described him as shell-shocked. Yeah, he actually called him that. He called him burnout. He actually called him a burnout in the movie. So that was the character he was going for. And if you're going for burnout and you're going for someone who's shell-shocked, you can't expect a better performance than Sylvester Stallone. So I have to say, we weren't expecting any good acting, and we didn't get any. Yeah, it's Sylvester Stallone. If you're expecting me to give 1 nerd flag for his acting, then granted, he did a great job in Rocky, but yeah, you know, that was like, what, 30, 40 years ago? So, no nerd flags for the acting in Rambo Last Blood. No surprise there. Now let's move on to the action. Now, I was very conflicted about the action because the action was mediocre, but I'm sorry, Mr. Stallone, it's 2019, bro. It's 2019. You gotta bring something new to the table. You gotta bring something where I'm like, whoa, I've never seen that before. Oh my God, I gotta go tell somebody about that. Or, man, I wish I was watching this so I could rewind it and watch it again. Something I'm gonna talk about. We've had so many great movies over the past 5 years, 10 years that have really elevated the action game, that have given us incredible things, whether it be the Marvel movies, whether it be the Matrix. Even DC has brought us some great movies when it comes to action. Go watch Shazam. It's still the best DC movie of all time. So, I give Rambo Last Blood half a nerd flag because there was some decent action. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Wow, look how that guy died. Look how that guy died. Oh, that guy died. Wow, that guy looks like Hamburger now. Wow, he killed that fool. So, based on that, half a nerd flag, but nothing that's going to make you want to rewind and go back and see it again. You're not going to want to see the action a second time. And sometimes the action gets a little bit preposterous, but it's Sylvester Stallone in basically an 80s movie, and he's rehashing because I guess he needs some money for something. So half a nerd flag for the action in Rambo Last Blood. Now let's move on to the special effects. Special effects were legit. I mean, if you're asking yourself like, man, you want to watch people die in some very realistic ways? Not that I'm by any means morbid or anything, but the kills look pretty darn legit and they look real. And the fight scenes look pretty darn real. And I think those were real explosions, not CGI, Mr. Stallone. So thank you for putting some C4 down on the ground and showing these new type special effects, folks, what it's really about. Go get some C4 and blow something up. We don't need CGI special effects explosions. So, one very enthusiastic nerd flag for the special effects. Now, I will say this as sort of a caveat. I have to say that the special effects in Rambo, more of the same. The Fight Continues, which is Rambo Part 4, This is Rambo Part 5. That was Rambo Part 4. The special effects were actually much better. The kills were better. The kills look better in that movie. And even though this isn't a horror movie, still, if he's got to kill people, it might as well look legit. Rambo 4 had better kills, for whatever it's worth. However, the kills were pretty good in this, too. He found some very inventive ways to kill folks. Some very effective special effects. So, 1.5 nerd flags so far for Rambo. Last Blood. First Blood, Last Blood. We're at the end. So, let's move on to the last part. The story. What story? Contrived story. Made up story. It's like, you have to invent people, create people. You have to just... more of the same, Mr. Stallone. They were messing with a man and didn't know who that man was, and they found out it was Rambo. Yeah, more of the same. Without giving too much away, this movie felt like Logan, minus everything that you loved about Logan. It had exactly the same feel, except there was nothing good about this story. There were parts in the movie where I was like, so I know Rambo's supposed to be kind of dumb because he's never been a smart man. Like, they've never said, like, John Rambo's a genius. No, he may be a tactician, he may be a hell of a soldier, but this man is not intelligent. And there's one thing that happens in the movie which basically sets up everything for the second half of the movie where it's like, bro, who does that? Who does that? Nobody does that. And because he did this one thing, it basically sets up the second half of the movie. It's horrible. It's dumb. Let's see here. Basically, they introduce characters that have never been talked about before in order to move the plot forward. He does stupid stuff, which moves the plots forward. And since this is an 80s movie, let me ask you this, okay? You know he kills a bunch of people. That's not a spoiler, okay? But this dude has so many people dead on his property, right? So you gotta ask yourself, like, when the police come, and I know this happens in like every 80s, 90s movie, there's one guy that kills 1 million people. What do the police say when when they show up to this dude's house? And they're like, yo, man, what's up with all these dead people on your front lawn, right? I don't know, but that never gets explained, and that drives me crazy. Why you got all these dead people on your front lawn? You know what? You couldn't do that anywhere else. You can't do that in Hemet. You can't do that in Texas. You can't do that in Vegas. You can't do that in Oceanside or San Diego. But for some reason, John Rambo can go around killing people and just leave them on his front lawn. So, ladies, gentlemen, Knights of the Nerd World Order, no nerd flags for that. So we have half a nerd flag for the action. We have 1 nerd flag for some damn good special effects. That's a nerd flag and a half. That's all you're getting from me, Sylvester Stallone. You got my money, kinda. So that's all you're getting, okay? You're not getting anything else from me, Mr. Sylvester Stallone. So, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I don't encourage you to see this movie. Maybe you're gonna watch it on Blu-ray. Maybe you're going to watch it on the Fire Stick. Maybe if you can find one of those old school theaters where every movie's like $3 because it's basically on a second run. Or maybe you might watch this movie at the drive-in, the second half of a double feature with something worth seeing. The action? Special effects? Yes. Everything else? Story? This story just insults you. So, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, you're going to watch Rambo. You're going to hope for some 1990s kick-ass nostalgia. Unfortunately, when most of us were around in the 90s, we were dumb teenagers and didn't know any better. Now we think about our movies because we're nerds. We're smart. This is not the movie to watch if you want to think. Until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO. We are NWO. Let your nerd flag fly.